There's a misconception that we don't exist, that somehow our ability to excel at the highest level of our industry is limited, that overcoming barriers as a woman of color would be insurmountable. But what would happen if we decided to venture out on our own despite everything we're up against? I'll tell you. Welcome to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. I'm your host, Dr. Angelina Davis, a healthcare consultant, consulting coach, high performance fanatic, wife, and proud girl mom. I help transform female professionals into thriving solo consultants. And just like you, I'm wearing all the hats and doing all the things. So this podcast is to empower the busy female professionals to move past fear to start and grow a successful consulting business, despite the obstacles you may encounter. We'll dive deep into consulting practice, business strategy, mindset, and more. So grab your cup of coffee or tea if that's your thing, and let's get started. Well, hello. Welcome to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. I am your host, Dr. Angelina Davis, and I am excited for this conversation that we are having today or that's planned today. And that is because we're going to talk about the power of having a core offer or a core service offer. And first, let me just preface this entire conversation by letting you know that I am a big proponent of having one core offer, one core service that you sell and that you promote. And I hope that you'll be able to better appreciate how this can actually be to your advantage as well, especially if you're in the early stages of building and growing your consulting practice. When I think about early stages, I'm really thinking about the first 1 to 3 years or so. But if you are in that space, then really considering narrowing and focusing on this one core offer can be a benefit to you. And this concept really is not new. It's something that's seen in a lot of other industries, especially in the coaching world, as well as other service-based businesses. But I think if you look at many of the high-performing consultants in the industry, in the field, then you can find, or you will find, that they have been very successful in the market because they did focus on one core service. And this approach is what allowed them to actually develop a very powerful strategy and something that allowed them to propel and grow their businesses a lot faster. And so I can tell you that this is a concept that I share and I model my one-on-one coaching service after. And I think that hopefully after this conversation, you'll understand how powerful it actually is. Now, I am not trying to pick on anyone, so if I am hitting home with this one, just know it comes from a really, really good place. It really does. But one of the things that oftentimes can concern me when I am beginning to work with clients is if I go to their website and I'm digging through their information, I'm trying to learn more about them, and I see that they have a laundry list of services that they offer. Now, unless you have a massive team, which in some cases people do, then it is going to be very, very difficult for me to believe that you are the true and tried expert in each of those areas. And oftentimes what may be happening is that they may be contracting out work. There are other kind of scenarios that may be at play, and we won't get into that right now. But when it comes to running a solo consulting business or solo consulting practice, you want to offer your highest level of service in one core offer. And there are a number of reasons for this. One is that by focusing on one offer, then it is going to help you also focus your energy and your effort on building that service to its highest level and ensuring that you're able to maximize the revenue generation from that particular offer before you move on to another. This can be extremely helpful when you're starting out. It'll make it easier for you to move things along and to really build your business a lot faster. And many times we get lost in the shuffle when we are trying to provide so many different services. It is hard to just navigate that entire process. So when we're able to focus in on one service that helps our clients to move from one point A, to another point B, and is also crafted to really develop an experience for them that's going to leave them raving about the services you provide so that you can generate more referrals and generate more business, that is going to be something that is going to be more successful in the long run than trying to capture a lot of different people with these services that oftentimes are very superficial. They're not really going into depth. And we have to understand that our clients, our prospects are very sophisticated and knowledgeable. They have already tried a number of different options that have been on the market before they've gotten to you most times. And so they are not looking for someone else that is just going to provide the same old thing that they've tried in things that have failed before. They're not looking for something that's going to work this week and not next. They want a real solution. It's just like when you're not feeling good. Let's say if I have a cough and I had this cough that's been nagging me for a while. I've been to my primary care physician. I've been to urgent care. Well, I'm not going to go across town to another primary care physician to try and get a third opinion on what this cough is and why it's causing me problems. Instead, what I'm going to do is I'm going to find a specialist in that area. I'm going to go to a pulmonologist, and I am going to want a thorough evaluation and finally get a real answer and solution to what may be causing my issue. And that's similar to how they are going to be approaching your services in the market. They are not looking for a Band-Aid oftentimes. And while that is one way that you can run your business, it is not often the most profitable, because it's going to put you in a scenario where you are presenting yourself as more of a commodity. And then you begin to negotiate based on pricing and really trying to be the most cost effective and cheapest option out there. That is not going to really be a fight or a war that you want to start. You don't want to start a pricing war. You want to be in a situation where you can create a lane for yourself, where you can, in essence, elevate the value of the services that you provide. And you can do that by going deeper, by getting into more depth, by solving more serious problems. And you're able to do that when you focus in on one key offer or one key service, because then they're going to look at you as an expert in that specialist. So this helps you just to focus all of your energy, your time, and the time that you have to work and to build on building that out. And when you do that, it's going to be better. It's going to be a better service. It's going to be a better offer because you have put more work into it. You've been able to dedicate more energy to it. You're able to analyze the data as you receive it and improve upon it and really grow that service into something that is going to be a complete game changer for your business. So I feel very strongly, for just first the sake of focus, that having one offer, one service that you're focusing on and that you are trying to build is going to be the most effective way to use your time until you get to a point where you have generated substantial amount of revenue and you are able to put a team in place to then expand beyond that point and expand into other arenas. Because right now, if you are working as a solo consultant, if you're running your business as a solo consultant, you don't have a huge team, meaning you're wearing a lot of different hats. It's not just about you delivering on the services that you provide, but you also have to wear the hat for marketing. You also have to think about paying the bills. You also have to think about how you're going to do lead generation, what you are going to do in terms of building out your personal brand. I mean, there's just so many things that you have to be concerned with, and those things take time. So in order for you to build most effectively, having one offer that you can focus in on and that will streamline your efforts, increase your productivity, is definitely going to be the way. Are you a female solo consultant or expert in your field who desires to build and grow a highly profitable consulting practice? Or are you finding it difficult to build your business and expand your presence in your industry to generate the revenue you desire? If so, my signature program, Expand to Excel, was created with you in mind. It's a 12-week, one-on-one curriculum-based coaching program developed to help you create and implement a personal strategy to build and grow a highly successful and profitable business as a solo consultant, no matter the industry. So visit www.excellaconsulting.com to learn more and to schedule your next step call. Now, the second reason why a core offer or core service will work to your advantage is because you will gain clarity and confidence. And these two things are invaluable when it comes to consulting. What I have actually come to realize over time is that so much of the confidence that people lack actually stems from their lack of clarity around their offer and the services that they provide. They don't really know how to communicate that effectively. And when they do, it just comes out in a way that is very confusing to the prospects and the potential clients that they want to serve. Think about it like this. Have you ever experienced someone asking you for directions and you know exactly where the place is that they're trying to go? I mean, you go past there every day. This is your hometown. You know where everything is. But when you go to explain it to them, then it comes out like gibberish. You start talking about landmarks and telling them what houses they're going to pass on the left or the right. And you can't remember the street names. And so you're talking about what you think the street name is. And either way, they are just confused at that point. And the likelihood they're going to actually get to their destination based on the directions you gave them is probably rather slim. And that's how we sound when we're trying to tell somebody how they're going to actually achieve their goal, get from point A to point B. And we can't explain it effectively. We don't have any clarity ourselves with how that process is going to occur. Here's the thing. Focusing on one core offer focuses your messaging, and it is much easier to communicate a well thought out message than it is to constantly be changing that on the fly. Clarity of messaging actually comes over time, but is so important because this messaging is what's going to allow you to attract the clients that you want to serve. It's what's going to help you to be able to communicate the necessary details and information that your client needs to hear in order to make a decision as to whether or not to move forward with you. It is a process that has to be developed over time. It doesn't happen overnight. And this will involve you really evaluating and testing and improving your messaging over and over and over again. And what I found is that when people offer a lot of different services, very rarely do they perfect the messaging for each of those services. They just jump from one service to another. They make it up when they are trying to land the client. They're trying to shape their service and shape their offer based upon what the client needs. And although we want to be able to adapt our offer to suit the needs that our clients may have, you don't want to start from ground zero and just build something completely on the fly or build something every time that you are working with a new client and trying to solve a new problem, because you cannot perfect the messaging. You can't perfect the process that way. You can't perfect all the things that you need in order to offer this services at a level that is really going to drive value. And so that clarity is something that you're going to want to have. And when you have that clarity, it's going to make you more confident because now you know what you're talking about. You've tested this messaging over and over again. You know what works. You know what doesn't work. You know what people need. You know what the market needs. You even know what your client wants because you know them better than they know themselves. That's what happens when you have that core offer. And that confidence that you have is something that they can feel, that reverberates, that gives them more confidence and trust in you. And that will lead them to seek your services and to want to move forward with working with you and with signing that contract. It's all about increasing this confidence, increasing this trust. And we can do that through clarity of messaging and through the confidence that we're able to show. And all of that is what can be gained when you have one core offer. I'm trying to tell you, this works. Okay, the last thing, and this piggybacks on the clarity and confidence conversation, and that is that when you have one core offer, you become really, really good at communicating value and then also navigating pricing and even negotiation if that comes up. Look, when money comes up, things get a little bit uncomfortable for most people. And this is where oftentimes many consultants may feel uncertain about the price that they want to sell their services at. They may not feel sure whether or not they are taking the right approach. Should it be value-based? Should it be hourly pricing? Do they want to set up a retainer? They don't really understand or know what they need to do in that moment. And oftentimes they don't know because they have not truly evaluated, going back to that core offer, they have not evaluated what it takes to deliver those services. And so they may come up with a particular price that they want to sell the services for, but maybe that doesn't account for all the work that's being done. And they end up selling themselves short and not charging enough for all of the work, time, expertise that goes into generating that service and providing that result, because maybe the return on investment for the client is going to be massive. And if you're only charging pennies for this massive result, that's not fair to you. And so the only way for you to really know that and understand how to properly price is for you to fully understand your offer and what it brings to the table when it comes to what your client is going to receive as a return on investment. So a lot of that comes from you being able to study your offer, understand what it takes to deliver your offer, and to be able to improve that over time. That is another benefit of having a core service. Because then you don't have to worry about those questions such as like, what should I charge? What should the value be? How should I add on or adjust my offer for this particular client? You will have all of these questions answered. It would be much easier for you to answer these questions when you have a point of reference. And then if you begin to modify your service, modify your offer, you're able to do that and adjust the pricing accordingly. And you're not starting from ground zero, just pulling an arbitrary number out of the hat. There is a certain level of confidence you're going to need and clarity when you are communicating the value of the services that you provide. And what the client is going to pay for is their perceived value of your services. You have to know how to change and influence their perception in a way that's going to elevate the value of your services and then allow you to be compensated appropriately. So part of what the core offer does is that it gives you a reference point. It gives you a way for you to improve and make the process more effective and more efficient so that you can increase the value. And also, it will allow you to have the confidence and clarity so that you can articulate that value appropriately, which all helps you with generating revenue and really working to increase the profitability of your business, which is the goal that we really have in the long run. All of us do. So just to really wrap things up a bit, I think many people delay their business growth and their growth in their industry when they avoid creating a core offer, especially in the first few years of practice. You may think that offering a number of services and trying to solve a number of problems or solving problems as they arise and modifying your approach to fit each and every need that a client may have, you may think that it will result in more business. But what often happens is that you become easily distracted and are typically not able to enhance and improve your services to the point where they can command the highest value and the highest payment and compensation. You end up watering down what you're able to provide, and that is going to limit you in terms of the revenue you're able to generate, as well as your ability to stand out in the market and compete effectively. And although that is not our intent, that's what we are often unintentionally doing when we decide not to narrow our focus and to focus in on a core offer, at least for a period of time. It's not boring work. It's actually going to be the work that gets you further along and allows you to grow the business of your dreams. So with that being said, I hope you enjoyed this episode. If you have any questions or comments, feel free to reach out to me either on LinkedIn or via Instagram. That is in the short notes, but it's also, I can be found at Dr. Angelina Davis on Instagram and the same on LinkedIn. And then also tune in to more episodes here on the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. And definitely, if you enjoyed this, share it with a friend and let's keep the conversation going. Until next time, take care. Thank you for tuning in to the Black Girls Consult 2 podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, be sure to leave your review on Apple Podcasts, subscribe, and share it with a friend. We're on a mission to increase the success and longevity of women in consulting, and you can help us do that. Also, I'd love to hear from you, so let's connect at Dr. Angelina Davis on Instagram or LinkedIn. And don't forget to visit excelatconsulting.com for more information to support your consulting journey. Until next time, take care.